So, beloveds, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Live Tantra Live. Start with a few moments of meditation, and then I'm going to bring in a very special guest. So, wherever you've just come from, I'm going to invite you to just take a moment to settle in. So, you can take a deep inhale. You can raise your hands if you want. And exhale with a sigh. And just begin to clear your field. Clear out any static, any busyness. Clear out the energy of the day. Inhale up. Exhale down the back of your body. Clearing your space. Let's do one more down the center. Place your hands face down on your thighs. Relax your jaw. Close your eyes if you want. Just take a moment to arrive here. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your sitting bones on the chair, the cushion, the surface. And each exhale, just discharge your day. You can also let go of all that searching for the email and the link. You're here now. Begin to notice the sensations in this moment. The surface underneath your body. Your breath flowing in and out. Feeling yourself become present as we enter into this journey into the wonders of manifestation. When you feel grounded, put a hand or two on your heart and taking a moment to tune in to what is it you most want to call forth in your life right now. It might be something about relating, your intimate life, love, romance. It might be about money, abundance, your career, your creativity. It might be about your health, your well-being. It might be something else. Just take a moment. What is your heart's desire? Holding that, we're going to dive into that deeper. For now, you can bring your hands into prayer. Take a deep breath in and bowing the head to the heart. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this Live Tantra Live. And today is about manifestation, such an exciting topic. I am so thrilled to have manifested an incredible co-teacher. I'm so thrilled to be inviting here today Marc Steinberg, who is the founder of his own school, Creative Consciousness, which is all about manifestation. So I'm inviting Marc. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, great pleasure. Exciting.
Very exciting. And thank you for the people who are writing in the comments. Maybe you can just write one word of where you are in the world so that we can get a bit of a read, because lots of you are pouring in here. So you can go ahead and say where you are and just find the comments, putting that in.
Bali. Logging in from Crete, by the way, from the beautiful island in Greece.
Magical
Florida,
Crete,
Ireland.
Bali, Ireland, lots of islands so far. Italy, UK, Spain, Vienna, good morning. Estonia, yeah. Oh, Haarlem, my favorite place in the Netherlands. Leiden, more Netherlands. Cambodia, wonderful. India, Norway, Switzerland.
Holland.
What a blessing. Keep them coming. What a blessing that we can all be here together to dive into this journey together. More Netherlands, more Italy. Amazing. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today and go on this journey. It's such a big topic that so many people are fascinated by, which is manifestation. And what we're going to, the angle that Marc and I are going to take is the tantric angle, which really brings some of the secrets that other concepts around manifestation are kind of missing out on. So that's what we hope to bring you. That's what we are going to bring you here today.
Absolutely. Yes.
Shall I hand over to you, Marc?
Sure. I know that many people on the call and who are going to watch the recording and out there not knowing anything about manifestation, but everybody tries to express themselves into this world, into this reality, and that's called manifestation. And to make something happen, many people turn to visualizations, affirmations. We have watched the movie The Secret, read the book, do the embodiment exercises, and yet, why isn't it always, sometimes, often not working? Why is the creation collapsing? And that has to do because we missed the part. You know, the body runs on 13 vitamins, and people try to do it with 10 vitamins or 11 because they don't know the 13. They think, oh, it's a good enough. You know, I'm doing my affirmations and I'm doing some alignment. Hey, maybe you missed something. Try living with 12 vitamins and you will have a problem. So when everything is aligned, then manifestation happens. So the lack of understanding and the ignorance of the subconscious. Now that's my speciality, shadow work. Because I found out on my path, which was very spiritual from the very early age of 16 years old on, that when I tried to bypass my underworld, and I'm going to go much deeper into this in a later stage of the webinar today, then I'm going to try and build something and manifest and create, yet I'm having headwind. I'm having forces that are working against my best intentions. And those forces come from the inner, subconscious, shadow, underworld. And my passion in life is to help people, especially spiritual seekers, who are already doing great things to get this subconscious, the shadows integrated. It's not about getting rid of them. It's like trying to get rid of the black part of the yin yang. It's not possible. It's like trying to get rid of the exhale. It's not possible. It's about integration. It's about owning it. It's about bringing the light to the shadows so that they can become conscious. Then you have a whole different alignment personally. But that's not all. There are many fields. We will talk about it, go into it, Shashi and I, to share with you what you need to consider in order for manifestation to really happen. So when manifestation power collapses, then it's linked to, for example, traumas. Maybe we can have the next slide. So trauma imprints, for example, are unresolved shadows. They hijack energy. So that means that anything that happened in childhood, usually between the age of 4, 5, 6, with mom and dad, siblings, uncles, etc., that was too much for you to process. Back then you had a little brain, right? Your emotional body wasn't developed. You were not really fully in the capacity you are today. So stuff happened. And many of the things you weren't able to process. So what you did was you started to protect yourself. Protect yourself from the pain, from the shame, from what happened. That became a shadow. And those shadows are traumatic. They are living in your cellular memory, in your whole body, in the 70 trillion cells that you have. That's where the shadow is nesting. And from there, it requires energy because you are subconsciously suppressing it. That energy you're not having available for creation. Exactly. And that's often the missing part. So the suppression requires energy. No need for suppression means you have gone into your underworld, you did the work where it matters. You need to get to the root of the things, right? And then your emotions and everything is aligned. You're not scattered any longer. Power versus force. Number 3, efforting creates contraction and backfires. See, power is you in your center, you in your dharma, you in your alignment. expressing yourself effortless. That's when the magic happens. And that's power. So the law of resonance, the law of synchronicity, which we will also talk about later. Force is when you're not in your power, right? People who are not in their power use force. That's when you start manipulating. That's when you contract. That's when fear is creeping in and manipulating your decisions. And then you start being forceful. So this American image of force, careful. Power is the Tai Chi, is the samurai, is the inner stillness. And then from there, a whole different world of magic is occurring. We got power leaks through old stories and fear cycles. Well, the cover up of the pain, of the traumas, is supported by stories that we created, that we tell ourselves, that we even start to believe in as a reality, that is justifying why things are the way they are. My mom is that way, my dad is that way, and so on and so forth. Reality is that way. Spiritual stories, it's still a story. So when those stories are powered by being right, that means you're not free, you're not considering as a possibility. No, it's a reality, it's true. We're talking self-fulfilling prophecy here, right? So our stories need to be examined, and you need to detach from your stories through giving up being right. Keeping your story, it's not wrong either. You're just removing yourself from the right, wrong duality frame. And then it could be not, but that's not who you are. You are not your stories, you are not your mind. You have a mind and you have your stories. Either the stories have you or you have your stories. And the nervous system cannot hold the reality you're trying to create. Look, when your body is not in alignment, when your body is in fear, when your body is impure, when your body is insecure, your energy field becomes a bottleneck. And then you are not able to be the space for your manifestations to crystallize and become a reality. If you can't be the space, then you are in your head. Then you can do all the vision creation, boardings, affirmations, and the whole word for hours. No, it will not happen because you are not big enough in your space, in your body, in your energy field to hold for the manifestation to happen. All of that is important and a little bit more. And when all of that comes together, then we're talking about holistic alignment.
Amazing. Yeah. So as I was listening, I was thinking just to share a personal story because you talked about how you teach spiritual people. I devoted my life to spirituality since I was 21 and went to India. And I was so deeply into all my different practices, especially Taoism, Tantra, but many other fields. And at some point, maybe 10 years into it, I really wanted to share this work with the world, but I really struggled, as many spiritual people do, with abundance back then. And I didn't have the money that I needed to create a web page, to travel here and there and give talks and teach all over the place. And that's when I realized that I needed to match all of my spiritual endeavors with looking at this block. And exactly all the points that you were sharing just now were areas that I had to go through. I tried at the beginning just affirmations because I heard about them. Like if you just go, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy. I'm a millionaire. But I would wake up in the morning and I still wasn't a millionaire. And at some point on that journey, I then discovered that Tantra had a whole bunch of it that was about manifestation, which is sometimes called sex magic. I'm a bit averse to that word because sex magic sounds like something else. Some people often think it's about like some kind of sex with voodoo and incantations and whatever. But actually, it's about our energetics, and that was one of the missing pieces, like you just shared, Marc. That to try to use affirmations without life force energy is going to take a long time. It might work, but it might take a long time, right? If I'm just going every day, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. But if we couple our dreams and our visions and our intentions together with energy, life force energy, that's when we start to see things happen. And of course, sexual energy is the most potent. It is creative energy, whether we're creating a child or creating a business or building a house or becoming abundant. The sexual energy is creative life force energy. That's why we need to have that aligned. But also, just like you shared about shadows, sexual energy is the trapdoor to the underworld. And all of our shadows that get pushed down are lying just underneath that energy. And so, oh, you can hear me twice. Let me just mute Marc for a moment. So all of this sexual energy is also connected to the shadows. And as Marc mentioned, there's so much energy that is used both to push shadows down, and there's energy locked inside, because those are just parts of ourselves that we have rejected. And so there's creative energy trapped in there that we want to liberate. So today we want to talk a little bit about how we do that, what those mechanisms are, what those methods are, and why it makes sense to use these more tantric methods to work with manifestation. Before we go on to that, I would love to hear from some of you. At the beginning, you put your hands on your heart and you tuned in. If there's one thing you can call in your life right now, what would it be? If you could open your comments, go over to the comments and add in, if you feel like, add in what it is that you're calling in, so we can get a bit of a feel for what's here in the space. And it can be one word if you want, like abundance. Oh, there's a whole bunch of things here. Okay, here's one thing. It actually works best to focus on one thing at a time, but it's good to know what you're calling in: a relationship, a job, and a vehicle, which can all be connected. A husband, a beloved, stability and balance, money and health. These are often really big ones. Deepen the romantic connection with my darling. Fantastic. Abundance, yes. Creative flow. Heart full of love and enthusiasm. Stability. Truth. Nice. Letting go of my day job so I can fully focus on my own business. Yeah, very clear. It's good to have some clarity as well. Abundance. A beloved. A grown relationship. Love. Relationship and abundance. Inner peace. Amazing. So actually, people who work in manifestation say it's really just 3 categories. So it's interesting to look at this. And those are relationships, abundance, and health. Health, wealth, and happiness. It doesn't mean it's strictly that, but those are like big categories that people often point to. I like that some people are nuanced of going in for like inner peace. You're really looking at the inner world more. Constant money flow and health. Relationship. Got a few more coming in. Deeper energetic tantric connection with my partner. Relationship. Constant money flow and health. Self-love, making love with my lover. Touching to see. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's really beautiful to hear all of these. And we're starting to create a collective field here. And also, you can see by seeing what some of these other people are sharing that this is a collective journey. And we'll talk more about that when we go into dharma. That when we think about manifestation, it's perfectly great to just go with our own desire. That's where we start. But we'll also see that desire, when we start to purify desire, it actually is a desire for a unified manifestation. That it's actually what we call, in Taoism, we call it heaven on earth, or divine will, or collective dharma. That actually, when we all start to follow the path of manifestation, we all start moving towards the embodiment of our higher self or our purpose. And there's no competition in that. Sometimes we have the idea of like, oh, if one person has this great job, then I don't have it. If one person has a great relationship, I don't get one. But in Dharma, the more we all live our truth, the more we can all live our truth. So it's a collective process as well. Yeah, we're going to go more into that. All right, I'm going to pull back the slides. So this is for you out there. If you are feeling a deep longing for more, but you can't break the old cycles. So sometimes you're feeling like, why is this one still around? You've tried mindset work, but it didn't get you all the way there. So if you've done the I'm a millionaire, and it didn't work, great that you're here. You want to manifest from alignment instead of pushing. So like Marc said, we want to move away from force and into, Taoists have this great phrase, the effortless unfolding. I love this phrase. To live in the Tao is to be in the effortless unfolding. So we want to be there. You want to manifest from embodiment and not from ego fantasy. So like really feeling alignment and embodiment. Maybe you sense there's a higher path that's calling you. So you might just feel this sense of purpose. And this is also really huge. And you want to walk that path. So this is the place for that. And you crave a more soul-aligned approach to creation. So if you've been like trying to make things happen and you're really feeling a calling for something more soul-aligned, great that you are here. Welcome, welcome. We're keeping the comments open. Feel free if you have questions. We may answer them as we go. We may answer at the end, or comments, then feel free at any point to add them in. Before we move on, I'm going to just introduce us a little bit further, because some of you, I see some dear friends here. I see some students here. I see colleagues here, and also some people I've not met. So just to introduce us a little deeper, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Shashi Solluna, and I've been 25 years on this path of Tantra, including Tantric manifestation methods. Interestingly, before I got into Tantra, I was very deeply into a Buddhist path with a dear friend who's shown up here today, where we were chanting and working with manifestation work. So from quite early on, I was looking at manifestation. I was also married to a shaman, and with him, I also explored what manifestation was about. So working with sex magic and Dharma alignment, it's been a path of refinement for me, where I've understood more and more about what it means and what's truly effective and what is more maybe time wasting. Yeah, so I'm the founder of Tao Tantric Arts and Live Tantra, and maybe just something about what I've manifested. I've manifested a lot using manifestation, and that includes one of the biggest schools of Tantra in the world. It includes 2 documentaries on Tantra that I created, a book that I published with Hay House. I also manifested a 3-bedroom house. So I've been using manifestation in my own life too. Okay, I will mute for a moment and pass over to Marc to introduce yourself.
I always adore you when you are so easily speak about everything, what you have created, etc., etc. I know it's true. That's not the point. The point is, that I never feel so confident to speak about all of that. And yes, I have created a lot, starting very early in my life. And I was on the search, age 16 to about age 26. So 10 years on a spiritual journey, trying to find the answers to the basic, essential questions of life. Who am I? What is life? What's my purpose? What's my soul incarnation purpose? And all of that, seeking for alignment, because I felt like, there are so many parts of me that are moving into different directions. And I didn't want to feel that inner contradiction anymore. One part wants this, the other one wants that, and so on and so forth. So I was like, where is that stillness, that point of nothingness that leaves me free, clear, present, and powerful? Because I love power, but not force, power. And the power to say, I was wrong, the power to share what's really going on in you, the power to communicate, all of that was a desire I wanted to manifest. And then I created this international organization, Creative Consciousness, first trainings in 1991. They've been around for a while. And it was international. Then still today, we have a lot of exposure in Russia, for example, in South Africa and other countries. The methodology of consciousness coaching. So I created a whole coaching academy that started in 2008, which is accredited with the ICF, because I believe that coaching is a communication way that is of highest dignity and non-manipulative. So if we can take that into our relationships, if we can communicate with presence and listening and receiving the other person holistically, so many relationships could actually have a chance to make it. And I'm not sure if you are aware, but divorce rates are 60% and rising in the world. The average length of a relationship is below 2 years. And those relationships who do look like they are sustainable, they are often flat arrangements, familiarity, not presence, not union, not emergence as a oneness, the mystical union of Shiva and Shakti, of the masculine and the feminine. So yeah, big field to go into. It's a whole different subject, but manifestation comes to that what Osho once said: business is business. Business is business. So I met so many people with great ideas, wonderful ideas, mind-blowing ideas, and they had the energy they thought they had. And then, where was the pudding? Where is that? You know. So, having the courage to become real with yourself, that requires courage, because it threatens your ego. It goes straight into your safety center, because you want to feel safe. You rather are safe in an illusion than drop the illusion, because you don't know what to do with the fall, because you never were trained, you never were exposed to what it's like to be held by the universe. It's something else. Yes. So I think I'm also have extended my time to speak. Yeah, today I'm living on the island of Crete in a most magnificent place. Shashi was with me for 2 weeks in this place called Shangri-La. And yeah, I don't have any burdens. No, that's nothing, because that was part of my manifestation. I want to be geographically free, financially free, emotionally be free, and all of that. Yeah, because I love freedom, and I think you do. And yeah, let's go from here.
Thank you. And yes, Marc's house that he created and actually designed and had built is an absolute temple, paradise on earth. Yeah. So Marc and I, we're actually running a retreat together early in February next year in incredible Angkor Wat, one of the most amazing places on earth, actually the largest sacred site on earth. And so we've spent a lot of time, Marc and I, talking about manifestation. We both consider ourselves to have really worked out manifestation. So we have sat together and thought, like, how can we really hack this and lay it out so that we can guide others and so that we can save you the time that we took as we were working things out. So what are the secrets of manifestation? What are the pitfalls? What are the best steps if we are going to guide someone else? How would we do it? So that's what we want to share today. That's what we're going to share in our retreat together as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to share. There was a question I'm just going to refer to now. Can you please tell us which documentaries on Tantra you created and where I can find them? So there's one called Sex to Spirit. The other one is not you can't see anywhere, but it's called Tantra Unveiled. It's coming afterwards. And if you go to, I put the link there, sextospirit.love, and they're going to film festivals this year. So you can't watch it yet, but you can watch the trailers and you can sign up on that webpage, and then you'll be able to see them when they come out. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to bring the slides back up on stage and move to the next one, our 5 steps. So number 1 is about dharma aligned intention. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. This word dharma that I've mentioned so many times already is, you can't really go into manifestation without talking about dharma and being dharma aligned. And this is such an important foundational step. Because why? Because we're not really taught about the sacredness of desire growing up. We're taught that mostly desire is like an evil thing, like greed and lust, and something that like spiritual people don't have. Like you should go and live in a cave somewhere or live in a monastery and get rid of all your desire, and then you're spiritual. But what we're taught in ancient paths like Tantra is that desire is actually sacred when we purify it. And by purifying it, what does that mean? It means we start listening to our heart. And somebody shared that earlier in the comments. Through the heart, we start listening to our heart's desire out of the head, like Marc said, not in our head, but into our heart, and also in embodiment. The heart is obviously a physical organ that we tap when we say this is who I am. We point at our heart. We don't say this is who I am. So our heart is connected to our deepest sense of self, and our body is the temple of this heart. And so this is where we want to look to find our divine desire, our true desires, by listening into our heart and asking, what is our heart's desire? And that will take us into our dharma. Dharma can be translated in different ways, but one way is our purpose, or our true path, or divine will. Like, what is the will of the divine for you? We all came here to do something extraordinary, amazing. You have a purpose here on earth. And that purpose doesn't have to look particularly spiritual. Maybe it's to be a spiritual teacher, but maybe you're a waitress. But when you serve people food, you look in the eyes, you share love with them, you see them, and you change somebody's day. You might even save someone's life. Someone who was feeling really bad about life came in and was served a cup of coffee by you, and you see them and shine love at them. Your dharma can be anywhere. Anything can be your vehicle for love, for transformation, for healing. And so as we start to go on the path of manifestation, we're tuning into what our dharma is. What's the opposite of that? We say is our karma, which is like action that's coming from another place, our identity, for example, or our small self. Another thing we could say is fear-based. So if we're fearful, oh my God, I haven't got enough money, and then we start creating from fear, then we're in impure desire. We're in a desire to escape our shadow rather than face it and transmute it. Right. So we want to listen very, very carefully, whether we're fear-based or love-based. That's the seed of manifestation. If there's fear, if you're really like, oh my God, but I don't know how to pay my credit card bill, and there's fear and it's genuine, process that fear, process that. Do not let your desire spring from it, but process it, transform it. There's a lot of energy inside of it, but that will lead you astray. Listen to your heart and feel what, if there was no limitation, if your body was in perfect health, you had all the money in the world, everything was available to you, what then would be your heart's desire? Then you're going to find your dharma, your calling. Dharma isn't the same as having a job. Your dharma is to be a vehicle of love and divinity and truth every day of your life, doing everything. So you're in your dharma when you see someone in need and you go and reach out to them. So it's not only about creating a dharmic relationship, a dharmic career, it's also about the small things. However, there is a dharmic health for you, which is your radiant well-being. There is a dharmic relationship, if relationship is your path, which is a relationship that's about spiritual growth and incredible things like this, not just playing out old karmic patterns, but like a relationship that takes you to the next level. And there is likely dharmic work for you, which is being of service, whether that's paid or not, being of service in a way that is making the world a better place. So this is about finding dharma aligned intention. Meanwhile, those shadows are still there. So I'm going to pass it over to Marc. He's good with stuff with the shadows.
Yes. When you do all of that, what Shashi just shared with you, then of course that is growing the crown of the tree. Just imagine you are a tree. But in order to face the winds of reality, you need to also at the same time grow your roots into the darkness of the earth element. Otherwise, you can't hold your light if you do not have strong roots. So that roots are in your subconscious. You may have heard what psychologists know, that about 10% of what you are aware of, that is 10% of the totality of your psychology or your mental body. And 90% is underneath the surface of your normal awareness. So these 90% are representing themselves a lot in the people you attract, in the disasters you attract, in the difficulties you attract. I'm talking about the negative things on purpose. because we usually have no problem with the positive attraction. I'm talking about negative attraction that puts you into a burnout, into anxiety disorders, into bore-outs, depression, all of that. So this is coming from unresolved shadows. And the name for the whole thing is called underworld in the mythology. So the Greeks, for example, they have the heroes of Odysseus and Heracles. They go into the underworld. They need to pass the tests. And the last and final test is to face the god of the underworld, Hades. And when they face Hades and they can hold his glaze, then they will be given the treasure, because behind the throne of Hades, there is the treasure box. And in that treasure box, what is there? Don't know if you know the story of self-worthiness. Wow. Yeah, many of you may have expected something else. Self-worthiness. Why that? After all the tests and all the darkness and the fears and the fights with the dragons and the demons and, all your stuff. Self-worthiness. Because you only can attract what you deep down allow yourself to be worthy of. I'm not good enough. One of the most shared subconscious belief patterns that we all successfully, beautifully suppress. And in our role, I'm good and all the rest of it. No, deep down, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm bad. And I don't deserve the big crown. So self-worthiness is one of the greatest gifts that you can expect from going into the underworld and dealing with it. I met people who are trying consistently to make the yin-yang gray. Yeah, the yin-yang is black and white. The white is white and the black is black, and then it has the power. But if you try to make it gray just so that you are safe of risk, no, that's not living. No, that's not living. That is something else. In other words, polarity, inhale, exhale. Have you ever thought about it? If you judge, exhale negatively, what will happen? You can imagine, right? But we do that. It's a symbol, but we do that with our reality. We divide the world into good and bad, into right and wrong, and then we are righteous and noble and standing for what is right and try to stay away from what is wrong. And I'm talking about the principle that is known in all great philosophies and spiritual teachings. The Greeks had it in the gods. We got Sis, which is consciousness, and then Sis is the father, energy. And out of that, the polarities, all gods are polarities. We got, for example, Apollo and Dionysus. Dionysus is the god of orgy, the god of, of indulgence and chaos and falling in love madly. Apollo is austerity. That's what you have in the Zen monastery. So what was the wisdom of the old Greek teachers? They said you need to serve all gods equally. That means when you're too much in Apollo, then Dionysus will start and do his magic on you. He makes you mad against your best intentions to stay sane. He makes you violent against your best efforts to be peaceful. So you are the space in which the polarities need to breathe. Inhale, exhale, yin and yang, Apollo and Dionysus. That's easier said than done, because you will attract the opposite of what you are wanting, as long as you have not removed the resistance to your particular judgments that you labeled the world, as I said, divided in good and bad. So that is a journey you need to go into. Only those, and that's, by the way, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. No? It's exactly that circle. You go into the underworld where all of that, what you held dear, what you thought is right, gets challenged. And then when you can survive that with good teachers and the right community and the right environment, it's absolutely possible. But that way needs to be given. You can't just do dynamic meditation and encounter sharing and expect you get rid of your shadows. No, because you didn't go to the root. You just released energy, which is wonderful, which is great, balanced a little bit. But like weed, if you don't take out the root, it will grow back. So if you want to have a life where manifestation is something that happens by itself without you needing to put in effort, where you feel that you and the universe co-create together, then you need to be available as a wholeness. And that is only possible when you start paying attention to your shadows, being willing to go into the underworld with qualified teachings and methods, and then doing the work. Face Hades at the end of your journey, get the treasure of self-worthiness, and then, wow, then there's only one word I know in the English language. Wow, you will get exactly everything that you ever desired for.
Love it. Yes. So these first 2 points are really, really massive. And I'd say almost number 2, working shadow work, is almost the biggest. And it's the part that most people miss. Like when we talked earlier about all these methods where, you know, people are just working with affirmations, just imagining themselves being wealthy. What's missing is that shadow work, is really seeing like what's going on beneath the surface. If we don't include that piece, then we're going to be surprised at what's happening. As Marc said, one of the ways to find our shadows is to see what are we attracting that we didn't really want? What kind of relationships, what kind of patterns are occurring again and again? So we need to use life as a mirror to see what it is. We are obviously just doing an hour here today, so we don't have huge time to go on a whole journey. But I'd love to invite you at home to just take our first 2 points. If you've got a notepad, I mean, these days no one has a notepad. Maybe you want to use your phone and like type notes. But if you have a notepad, then just write down and just think about point 1 and point 2. Number 1, your intention that you already felt into earlier, and we felt it by feeling our heart, but just check, is it dharma aligned, or is it fear-based, or is it ego-based? Where did that desire come from? So have a look again at your desire. We heard some of them earlier. And there may be multiple pieces, like relationship. There may be a part of you that is coming from small self that's like, I don't want to be alone, like fear-based. I don't want to be alone, so I need a relationship. But there may be another part that's like, I have so much love to give, and I want to give that love, and I want to grow with someone. I want to expand. So take a moment to look at your original desire, check your own dharma meter. How aligned does that feel? Do you want to make any changes to it now you've seen it? You might want to adjust the writing, the wording of it. And this is homework you can do later as well. We're not going to take tons of time now, but just that step 1 is just check in. Does it feel like it's aligned with your dharma? Does it feel fear-based? And then have a little check at number 2. And again, this is huge work. And as Marc said, it's really good to do with the facilitator and techniques, and it's very deep. But just a quick look, just a quick peek into the underworld, clearing shadows and power leaks. As you look at this intention, what coming up immediately as points of resistance, maybe judgment? For example, if we're calling in if we're calling in abundance, but we judge people who are wealthy as all being evil, or they're all greedy people, we find ourselves saying something like, who does Elon Musk think he is, or whatever. If we've got judgment on, then that's going to be part of our shadow. So do you have any judgments? Do you have any resistance coming up? Do you have any fears arising? And I love that Marc brings it all back to the box of self-worthiness, because you'll see that all of those things kind of trace back to there. Do we really, truly believe that we're worthy of our own highest purpose? So I'd invite you to take a moment with that. You can write down a couple of words now so that you stay tuned in with your own process as we go. But I just really want to highlight that this is very much deeper work. This is a long process, not something just to cover an hour. We're just tapping into the tip of the iceberg, but that's something you can do as we go along. I'm going to move to the next point. So the next one is embodiment and inner alchemy. Well, what does that mean? Embodiment and inner alchemy. So yeah, as we said at the beginning, we're looking at the tantric paths here. And what is Tantra even? Like, you know, many of you know it well. Some of you are like thinking it's just about going to a sex party or something. But Tantra is an entire path of spiritual awakening for the householder, for ordinary people. I.e., you don't need to go and live in a monastery. You don't need to give up everyday life. You go through everyday life for your spiritual awakening. That is what the path of Tantra is. And within it, there are many lineages and different practices that enable us to awaken within the dream. So we don't need to get rid of desire. We can go, but we also don't want to just follow desire like a hedonist. We want to bring meditation and desire together so that we are merging. Actually, just like Marc said so brilliantly about Dionysus and Apollo, like if we bring the meditator and the party goer, the desire, when we bring those together, we have Tantra, when we really merge these two. And this is called inner alchemy. This is really about like, how do we move into embodiment when this body is the vehicle of our experience of life. So after we've tuned into what our dharma aligned intention is, and we've started to do the shadow work, then we want to do the inner alchemy. And this is about practices. Inner alchemy, one of the main ones we use in manifestation is transmutation. How do we turn our lead into gold? How do we turn our shadows into energy? That is what shadows become. And by the way, there's a distinction between light and dark, like the yin yang symbol, like day and night, which are healthy light and healthy dark, and shadows, which are the things we've cut off from consciousness. And so our healing work is to go into the realm where we've been so full of shame, and we've cut off parts of ourselves, and bring those parts back. And as we reclaim them, huge amount of energy is liberated. So you'll often see people shaking and having this kundalini activation in Tantra. It's not just about having bigger, better, brighter orgasms. That's a great side effect, but it's actually about this energy bubbling up through our system, coming up out of the underworld and reconnecting into all of our chakras. And so as we do our shadow work and we allow it to rise up through us, instead of pushing it, it's like under the shadow is like a beach ball that we're trying to push under the water, and it's just going to crack up here and crash up here. So our shadows will haunt us until we reclaim them and integrate them. And that's through our embodiment and alchemy. And then it becomes pure life force energy. So if you've heard of Kundalini Shakti, it starts at the base of the spine, where sexual energy enters the body, can feel very orgasmic, and our whole body can move and vibrate, whether it's a subtle vibration or you sometimes see people in these massive shaking. That's what's happening. It's a recalibration. It's drawing back that life force energy that's been repressed for a long time, and it integrates back into our energy body, making us more alive. I really like that Marc was like, that's no way to live. We want to feel more alive, and that's what this path is about. So our desire is actually calling us back to live our fullest life. And as we reclaim those shadow pieces, we become more alive. So that's how the Kundalini awakens. The very food for the Kundalini is our shadows, and clearing and healing that shame and all that's been trying to hide parts of ourselves. So it's incredible work. And there are many, many tools which we can use. Again, you want to do these in a workshop. But these are using breath, for example. So as that energy comes back, we want to harness it with certain types of breathing. We want to be able to smoothly integrate that energy so we're not overwhelmed by it. We need to balance always energy with meditation. We call them Shiva and Shakti, the masculine and feminine principles of meditation and energy. They have to be worked together. When people get obsessed with energy and they're like, oh, I can awaken everything, they can get overwhelmed and chaotic. If people just sit and meditate all day long, like in their Shivahood, then they can get too rigid. We want to have those two in partnership. so that we're creating a container for our life force energy. So all of these are the kinds of tools that we use, where we start to use our breath work, we start to channel the sexual energy. It's confusing because we're so used to sexual energy only in one context, which is sex. And actually in Tantra, the sexual energy is used in all contexts. And it is literally your life force energy. And we want to channel it through the spine, through all the energy meridians and all the pathways, to make to bring ourselves into our true self. That's the embodiment of our higher self. And then we're in this amazing thing called alignment. And when we're in alignment, that incredible thing that Marc mentioned is going to happen. Manifestation will just magnetize to you, because it's a matter of alignment. It's a matter of frequency. As we raise energy, as we do this inner alchemy, we bring ourselves into the embodiment of the frequency that we need to be at to live our true purpose. And that's how manifestation starts happening. So we need those practices of embodiment and inner alchemy for step number 3. The next one is ritual and meditation.
Yes. The path of Tantra offers ritual as a structure to align the mind, the heart, the body, and our energy field, so it becomes one single coherent movement. My teacher, Chitta Krishnamurti, he always said that thought, speech, and action need to be one movement, because people think one thing, say another thing, and act in another way. So when that comes together and being one, and ritual is a structure that allows, in a playful, sacred, amazing way, to have all of that come together. That means that you are becoming a laser energy kind that, combined with your intention, and for example, in the ritual, the R sound of creation, all of that together, wow, then the frequency you radiate is so strong that the resonance from the quantum field of infinite possibilities is an echo that is aligned with your intention, because you are aligned. Have you ever wondered why your affirmations are not exactly mirroring back to you, reflecting back to you, bringing you that, what the affirmation is about? Because the alignment was missing. So if you do that in the container of a ritual, then it is a whole different story, a whole different level of frequency, because ritual is the language to communicate with the quantum field, which is the intelligence of life itself. And words are very limited for us, but the language of ritual is a direct language that the quantum field is listening to and responding to. That's the purpose why we will, if you come to Cambodia, to engage you in rituals that are designed to support your manifestation. And when it's combined with fields, what we come to in a moment, then you got everything what is needed in order to become the manifester of a life that you love to live. I keep it short here because we are a little bit running out of time.
I know we are. And I was just thinking, like, you and I, we can both fill so much space. I mean, we've been teaching for decades, but we'll leave some to be left for wanting more. The last point is integration, which is so important, because we don't want to just be, calling things in and also just raising energy. What we raise, we also want to draw down. And that's about like receiving. We're not just madly calling in and getting our alignment correct and doing all of this work, but we also need to be ready to receive. And that's the path of integration and creating coherence in our energy field so that we can adjust to the new level of reality. So it's really like we're evolving through manifestation work. And each time we have a desire, and we do the shadow work, and then we use the inner alchemy methods, we raise the energy, we create rituals, then we integrate, and we rise up, and then we stabilize at this new level, and then we're ready for the next level and the next level. So it's like we're building and building as we are moving on this incredible journey of spiritual evolution, of embodiment of our higher self. That's all I'm going to say for integration. Like Marc said, if you want more, you can come and train with us in Cambodia in the amazing Angkor Wat. I'm going to bring this up for our last three, which is to talk about the three fields of manifestation. That all of this work, as I said at the beginning, is not just about you on your own, your personal energy. That's very, very important. But the collective field is also important. Who are the people in your life? You know, studies have shown that the 5 people you spend the most time with are the people who you're going to become like. So if you're hanging out with negative people, putting each other down, not believing in themselves, complaining about life all the time, you're not going to support your pathway of manifestation. You want to be with other people on the path of manifestation, the collective field. In Tantra, we call it the Sangha, the collective. And then the environmental field is really important. If you're calling in abundance, but then you're like, your bedroom, it looks like a hovel with pizza boxes and, you know, empty beer bottles, you're just constantly getting the imprint of not a very high quality of living. So it starts with just your basic feng shui, but also we can go to sacred sites, which is what we're going to do, go into sacred sites and places of power and do our manifestation work there with a group of people. Then we're really calling it in. That's really super powerful. So that's what Marc and I are offering. Part of the reason we're bringing ourselves here to introduce ourselves as a teaching partnership is we are offering a space for those who desire to manifest their dream life and live their dharma. If you're feeling like, yes, this is really calling me, this is, as we've referred to, we are going to be offering a 5-day retreat in one of the most incredible places on earth, which is Angkor Wat. It's on most people's bucket list, so you've probably heard of it. But if not, you can look it up. There's a link there in the comments if you want to go find out more about Angkor Wat and this retreat. Angkor Wat is an absolute wonder. It's really one of the most incredible places I've ever been. It is a huge jungle full of the most incredible temples. And what's amazing about these temples is that they were created with a lot of sacred geometry. There are spaces that represent the center, the quantum field, the 4 directions. The whole buildup of it is all about these codes of living our true life, living our dharma. The dharmic codes are built into the bricks of this building, of these buildings. It's huge. You go through the jungle, stumbling across temple after temple after temple. And what's also amazing is that the jungle has overgrown a lot of them. So you have all these amazing jungle trees together with these phenomenal, mind-blowing temples. I mean, just walking around, the word you say is the word wow, as the word Marc said earlier. You just walk around saying like, wow, this place is phenomenal. And so when Marc and I were talking about manifestation and living the dream life, and we were doing rituals together in Crete, we were together on a full moon doing a ritual, and, you know, we're talking about what manifestation's all about. And that's when I was like, you know what, let's go and do this retreat in Angkor Wat. Let's take people into these temples. So we're in a beautiful venue, 5-star venue, just outside the temples. So we'll have a beautiful group room to be doing our inner work. And then in the afternoons, we'll go into the temples. Sometimes we'll put headsets on, headphones, so that we can have a guided meditation whilst we're in the temples. So you'll be able to look at this wondrous place with all the dharmic codes around and be doing your meditation, raising your energy, coming into your alignment. We'll be doing all of this work that we've talked about here in these temples. It's going to be amazing. And this is a retreat for anyone that's just feeling like, I'm ready. Like if there's this, like, I am so ready. I'm so ready to clear my limitations, to clear the resistance, to stop getting caught in these little loops that are keeping me small. I'm totally ready to do the work that needs to be done. I want to be in that supportive field so I can do the shadow work, learn the tools, and then expand into who I came here to be. Then this is it. This is your invitation. This is what Marc and I are going to offer. And I am so, so excited about it. We have our own story that we'll have to tell you another time, maybe when you're there. We had so many synchronicities when we met, phenomenal ones. And synchronicity is the language of the divine. we knew that we were meant to come together and do something extraordinary. And so we're thrilled to be inviting you, if you're feeling the calling, to come and join us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shashi. I want to invite everybody just to take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and to just become present for a moment. And just notice what shifted in your body. Scan your body. Don't become analytical. Just notice what you notice. Also notice what opened up or cleared up or softened. Nothing to do with it, just becoming aware of it. Maybe you also can sense if there's a calling. And also to welcome noticing it, giving gratitude. Say yes. Yes is opening us up. Beautiful, beautiful. And now just with the next exhale, allow yourself to expand. Just your energy field to expand. It's not something you do, you allow for. Just let go and become bigger. And you may notice a smile on your face that comes from your soul, not from your ego. All right, and I wish you to take that into the day, the evening, whatever time zone you are in, the smile of your soul. And maybe we can welcome the smile of your soul in February in Angkor Wat.
Thank you so much, Marc. And thank you to all of you for joining us here today. Our time has come to completion, but we always love to hear from you. If you'd like to put one word of how you feel right now after joining us on this journey in the comments, then we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, you can see the link there for this event if you feel like really coming and doing this together with us in person. And if that's not in your flow, then we really want to invite you to take everything from here today and to really bring it into your life. And I love hearing how people's results are. So let us know. Stay in contact through Live Tantra. We've got a big online community, as many of you know. It's free to join. So you can go to livetantra.com and join the community. We have lots of live events. Great. Lovely to hear from you all. Fantastic. And thank you for your attendance. It's really great to see people staying from beginning to end. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Wow. Really lovely to hear from you all. Amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Marc.